My name is Dipanshi, and I'm your host for today. On behalf of the PMI Pune Rector India chapter, I would like to thank all of you who have been with us since the beginning of our journey, as well as those who have joined us recently. We are here today to hear from our credible and knowledgeable speaker, Maggie Augustine, who will help us in learning about the importance of project management in the transforming era, program and project management. She's committed to analyzing processes and over to you, Maggie.
Thank you, Dipanshi, for the warm welcome and for giving the introduction about myself. I hope I'm audible and my video is also visible.
Yes, Maggie.
All right. So, good morning, good afternoon to one and all. And I take this opportunity as one of the most important platform where I can share my thoughts and ideas about project management. So let me share my screen and walk you through some of the slides that are there, which I hope will be relevant and meaningful in terms of project management discussions we are having today. So as the agenda, today's agenda, we will cover what is project management, understanding the transformation era, how project management is changing with the transforming era, what are the key challenges in project management today, some of the importance of effective planning, then how enhancing collaboration and amongst the teams help us in project management, then what are the changes and uncertainties in project management, some of the latest tools and techniques which are essential for project management. And I will be, of course, covering them from some of the case studies which I have been, utilizing, and some of the success deliverables we have been achieving in our organization, and inclusiveness in project management. What are the future trends in project management? Then the conclusion part. Before that, I would like to, a brief summarize about myself. So basically, I have completed my graduation from Jesus and Mary College, Delhi University, and I hold an MBA in marketing with a specialization in international marketing. And thereafter, I took up my first assignment with the Korean Embassy's trade division, which is Kotra. And I have been managing the Korean trade division team as a delegation a trainee. So my main platform over there was to encourage all the delegations coming from South Korea to India for business expansions, and we were supporting them. And after that, I worked with EY as a global PMO, where I was supporting my stakeholders for all the PMO roles, project management activities, which is related to talent transformation and some of the opportunities which was related to the Australian EY partners, supporting with the PPD admin support. And my current profile, and currently I'm working with Birlasoft as a PMO manager. So that is all about me. So let us talk about what is project management. So project management is basically the process of planning and managing projects. So if I have to understand, what is project management? I think project management comes from the basic learning that we get from our homes. If we look at our parents, our family members, if we have to look at our mothers, so they would plan the day from the morning. So they have to think and plan essentially what is essential for my family from the morning to dinner table. So I think project management is also something which I think that is a route to project management, and where without an unless and until you don't have a proper planning and methodology, you will not be able to achieve that outcome. So I think the process is planning, managing, and then executing for achieving the desired results, or for you can call it maximization of profit, or for having the desired outcomes for the industry you're working, or whatever businesses you are in. So project management is definitely required, because unless and until you don't have a proper planning, project management can't be executed very successfully or very fruitfully. Talking about some of the management methodologies. So there is operation, there is design, there is deployment, there is an analysis, there is development, and there is diagnostic. These are the 6 pillars of project management principles and methodologies. Unless and until you don't determine these things, it will be challenging for many of us to have or achieve that milestone of project management. So when we talk about operation, we have a system go live, we have post production support, there are multiple iterations. When you cover one iteration, when you complete, when you achieve one milestone, then there is a step by step process of going to the next iteration levels. And iterations are required because you need to be very sure about the post service support that you are delivering to the community as a whole, to the society as a whole. So basically operation comes that way. Then we talk about design. So there are functional design documents. I would say design documents comes as a repository because once you achieve something, then you need to have a documented purpose. Because when somebody wants to go back and check what has been the steps involved, so repositories are very essential. And nowadays, every organization has a repository. You can call it Teams. You can call it multiple the apps that we are using. So there are multiple ways of managing and keeping that repositories for the organization that we are working for. Third pointer would be deployment. So there is an essential end user training and preparing the production environment. So these things comes as a very essential element when we talk about the project management principles or the methodologies. Then we talk about analyzing. Analyzation is important because even when we are planning the project management, there are always gaps. So basically we need to identify what those gaps are, and we need to come out with a customized solution to identify or fill those gaps. And then we have development. So whereas there are testing scenarios to ensure that whatever is being running, whatever is running in project management, that doesn't have any problem or that doesn't have any issues. And then we diagnose the same. So diagnosing by high level requirements and an architecture assessment. So these are the main methodologies or principles of project management. Moving on to the next slide, understanding the transforming era, what has changed in project management. So when we say understanding the transformation era, as everybody knows that we are talking about AI. So what was there before AI? What has changed after AI? How has it changed the working methodologies for all the project managers across the globe? I've just added some pointers. What was before AI? So before AI, you see there was a huge rely on human judgment and experience. They were, prone to biases and less accurate predictions. After coming of AI, so this is actually we're able to save on time. So the machine learning is there. So we are able to analyze data and we are able to predict success in no minutes. And then there is a more accurate and projective prioritization of the objectives. That is one thing that has come after AI. And talking about the second point is risk management. So nowadays, every organization is having a risk tracker. So I would say that can be in the form of an Excel, that can be in the form of a SharePoint. So risk and a risk log is very much essential to identify what are the potential risk and how we can come on to a solution. So many organizations, when I was working with EY, so we had a platform called the Risk and Issues Tracker. So we used to register risk in the SharePoint, and the SharePoint will automatically, capture all the risk, and then those risks are considered as red. So we have red, amber, green. So reds are the ones which which needs decision. So basically there are multiple ways of managing risk, and sometimes we use project plan, Microsoft project plan also, to identify the risk as per the red, amber, green thing. And there are other ways also. I mean, you can also give me inputs on what are the ways or the methods where your organization or where you work on the risk and mitigation policies. Talking about the third point is reporting. So Prior to AI, it was all manual generation. So it took huge time to generate reports and then come out with the detailed outcome of what is required, what is not required. Now, after AI, there is a real-time automated report generation, which is in turn saving time, and there is an up-to-date information which is accurate, and we are able to see that insights in the form of dashboards, in the form of Power BI reports, whatever. So there are multiple ways which has um, reduced the human efforts and time saving, which I think is one way to help the management in a larger aspect. Talking about the fourth point is resource allocation. Now every organization is having multiple ways of identifying resources. So earlier there were days, because I remember when my dad was working, he used to talk about resource allocations and other things. So we had to go through that resume steps and looking at the skill sets, and so these were all done manually. But now after AI, we can actually see that whatever skill set is required, these are all being identified in an automated process. So AI will help look, there are multiple tools like Prism and AIs which will help you look at people who are having the right skill set. They will select the resources and give you examples for your selection, and I think that saves time for the talent transformation team in identifying the right fit for the organization. Then there is collaboration. So before AI, we were dependent on emails and meetings. So what has changed is, so there was a slower pace of communication to get the message. But now, after AI is, like transformative AI has come, or the Gen AI has come, AI powered tools for real time updates and automated reminders are going automatically. So there is no human efforts, and those things have reduced, and there is faster communication, which is more effective. Then we talk about forecasting. So before AI, we relied on static data and past experiences. Now after the AI, we are having updated information on the forecasts, on the timelines, on the budgeting and potential bottlenecks. Talking about routine tasks. So everything was handled manually by project managers or the PMOs. I think uh, PMO profile people who are currently in PMO profile, people who are in the project management profiles or domain, they know like what are the essential tools which will help me or my organization to manage all my tasks in a well, planned manner. And we have multiple, channels, we have multiple tools, we have planners, we have um, I mean, Monday is a tool which also helps in blocking your calendar very effectively, and the tasks for you are all automated there. And Monday also helps in helping you to identify what are the, if you're having multiple meetings in a day and you're not able to set timings, or you're not able to set calendars on your own, or you're confused. So Monday is a tool which can definitely help you to prioritize your task and prioritize your meetings. So I think there are multiple, we will be talking about in detail in the next slides. So there are multiple tools to identify these gaps. And then at last, we talk about testing. So earlier, before the AI, we were manually dependent on human automated testing processes, which was slower. And now, after AI, automated testings has helped further, and it is able to analyze the gap, which is more faster. And now we talk about some of the examples of AI tools. So AI tools, so I have actually just mentioned step-by-step process of any of the tools which will be helpful for you. So ChatGPT by OpenAI. So basically how to access that, what is the usage, what will be the outcome. So I'm sure that most of us are using ChatGPT, and most of us also know about Copilot, and so basically we have to just visit the website, sign up, enter the query. Now many times I've also seen it and experienced it myself. Whenever we are using chat gpt, if we want to have the desired outcome, we need to be sure that the prompt we are generating, that should be having the right interface. So basically, if we want to have the desired outcome or the output from chat gpt, we need to ensure that the command or the prompt that we are giving to the tool should be accurate, and then we will be able to see accurate information. Many times what happens, because it will give you, if you want to format a paragraph, it will actually give you detail in, in-depth details. But nowadays people are morely dependent on infographics, and we need to have less text. So basically I think this is one platform which will help you in saving time, and thinking about how to write in-depth detail about any particular subject. Then we have Anthropic. So basically, Anthropic also, we have the same process as GI, I mean, Chat GPT. So we need to register, and then we need to input our text. And based on the text, this tool will help us in creating codes and creating charts. And the output will be, we will be able to utilize the generated content. Similarly, we have Google Gemini. So Google Gemini also, the process would be same. We need to sign in, and we need to prompt our questions or the chat, and then we are able to get that responses, be it research, be it case studies, be it white papers or articles. You will be able to get the expected outcome. Then we talk about Quillbot. So Quillbot is also another tool. We can paste our text, and it will, paraphrase the, along with the grammar checking, and it will, give in turn the refined text for our usage. Then we have Midjourney. So Midjourney uses our text prompts to generate images. It's a very wonderful tool for people who are from the creative side of it. And you can populate your information if you want infographics, if you want images based on your content. This helps you in downloading and getting you the generated images. Then we talk about Hugging Face. So Hugging Face is also basically a pre-trained model where you can upload your own data for training, and the outcome would be you will be getting the integrated models which you can apply into your applications. Just for the explanatory purpose, this will be very helpful for you. Then we have character AI. So this is basically what it does is it will interact with created characters based on your preferences, and the outcome would be interactions for entertainment or educational purposes. So I think this will be more helpful in the future for school students, and for educational institutes where they want to make studies more interesting. And then we talk about CapCut. So CapCut would import your media and user editing tools to create videos, and the outcome would be export and share your edited videos. And we also have Synthesia. So Synthesia is again a script wherein you need to enter your script and choose an AI avatar, and it will help in creating videos. So these are some of the AI tools which will be helpful for you. And we also have another tool which is Lumen 5. So you can input your, you can share your written content to, and what does it do is, what Lumen will, change your content into a video, and again will be an essential platform for you to, explain things in an infographic way or in a diagrammatic way. Then we are talking about some of the role of AI in transforming project management. So basically, we already discussed this in our previous slides. So everything is AI driven, which is task automated. And the outcome or the result of this would be a predictive analysis in the form of dashboards. It helps us in resource management, identifying the right skill sets for your organization. And then we talk about improving the efficiency in agile project management. So what is agile? So agile, waterfall, and scrum, these are all different methodologies, and I think most of us follow an agile methodology or a scrum methodology when it comes to team meetings, because unless and until you don't have a proper plan, you will not be able to get that result outcome or the desired results. And so it's a step by step process. I think agile, whether it is agile, it is scrum, it is waterfall, or is it your Microsoft project plan. So the aspect of all these tools is follow a step by step process with proper timelines, with proper task. And when sometimes we see that every team is individual in the team is assigned a multiple task, different tasks. So if you set small task at a time, I think, and that too in a collaborative way, it helps in actually getting the desired results for the project that you are doing. So the idea and the purpose of all this, tools is like, to have a step-by-step process in your project management journey. And the last thing would be communication and collaboration. So communication is a very essential platform. It is very important to communicate your ideas, your thoughts, your process. What are you looking at? So basically, communication, cross collaboration is very important in the project management area or the domain. Talking about some of the key challenges
Uh,
of project
Excuse
management.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah, excuse me, Maggie. I see some comments written in chat by Mr. Sanju. So
yeah,
maybe if you would like to express your view,
sure.
Sanju, with right prompts and all, you can please.
Uh,
Yeah, actually, I was just adding on to what Maggie
Yeah,
is
yeah,
saying.
please share your
She
thoughts.
make Yeah, it was like when she was saying regarding the prompts. I had to just mention that whatever we give as a prompt, if it is not good, the output would also be same. And if it's a
Absolutely.
better, very good, very detailed and formatted prompt, the output would be what is we want. That's what I just wanted to add what Maggie is saying.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
thanks for that input. Yeah. Yes, Maggie. Would I like to also understand if we have some of the audience members who are using similar tools and would like to share your thoughts.
Yes, it will
Maybe
be
we can
interesting
take
to
a
learn from
moment
you,
here.
actually. Yeah.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, please.
Yep. Yes, please.
Yeah,
Yep.
actually, right now I have done my CSPO. I have my PMP and CSM qualified. So I have done my CSP. So what I am doing is now trying to make a draft product of a garage, automated garage system wherein I am using ChatGPT
Okay.
to give it prompts to help me build the step by step, maybe starting from the persona to making the value proposition canvas, then getting to the epic feature chart. And so I am into it. So what I found is ChatGPT is very helpful, and maybe other tools. I'm not yet into it. It is up to us to have the at least the basic knowledge of what we are going to make, so that we can accordingly give the prompts to the ChatGPT, and the responses which come, we can further on modify it based on the formats, and the final response would be a much better one. So I am into it. I find it very helpful.
Yeah. And also, did you had a chance to use a Copilot app, Sanju?
Yeah, Copilot I also have tried. I have not so much, but it is
Mm.
good because I think Copilot gives references. I am also using PMI Infinity, which is a free version which I have got from my membership.
Okay.
That also gives the option of references, wherein we can check if the AI tool is biased or not, and we can go and check the references provided to verify the information which is being given.
Absolutely. And there is one thing. So we had a Microsoft session from one of the global leaders from the Microsoft. So basically, that was a session on Copilot. So our organization is, like conducting those kind of sessions, and then I think there are multiple ways. So what I was telling you, there is a large database. Sometimes it becomes really very difficult to identify what you need it. So see, pivoting and all that is understood, but then the other aspect of dash of an Excel sheet. So there are, like, we wanted to identify certain gaps in an Excel sheet. So when we say an Excel sheet, it is about our clients and some of the detail which is related to the business. So we wanted to identify who are the clients who are really interested in this business, who are really interested in taking this forward. And to my surprise, Copilot was actually able to generate that report, because manually we will just do filters and apply things and look for the clients and mark it in red, amber, green. But actually, Copilot was able to identify those things, and I think in just 2 to 3 minutes it gave me that detailed structure of how to identify those things. So positive ones, the not so positive ones, and so on. So I think this is something which has come as a very good platform for us to identify, and because rather than dashboards will summarize the things, but Copilot will actually look out for information in such in depth. So that is also one thing, and I'm also like exploring more with those tools and all that. But yes, just I wanted to share one of my thoughts here, how Copilot helps in identifying such details as well. Any further questions you have? Anything you wanted to share?
No, Maggie, thanks. I'll try Copilot also, definitely. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Absolutely. All right. So I'll move on to the next slide, which is the challenges of project management. So despite of having just a second. Am I audible?
Yes.
Are you able to see my screen as well?
Yes.
I don't know, for some reason my slide is not moving further. I am just yeah. Let me just stop it and reshare it once again.
Maggie, do you want me to share my screen?
Dipanshi, I think that would be helpful because for some reason there is a switch.
Yeah, just give me a moment.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Maggie, till that time,
Yeah.
what I found also was helpful is the time factor, which is helping by using AI.
Right,
What we
absolutely.
could do in one day, we are able to do it in maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
Absolutely.
It is a very helpful tool, but people
Yeah.
are yet to explore it. Maybe
Yes.
they, once they get the hang of it, it will be a very game changer for the managers.
Yeah. And I think like I was interacting with one of my like colleagues yesterday. So when we talk about all these tools, but I think other than Chat GPT and Copilot, we have not seen really the organizations exploring such tools. But the thing is, like, we all need to have a detailed understanding of how to use these tools. And if we know the in-depth information about this tool or multiple tools, and it is not important to know each and every tool. We can utilize the tools which we think or you think from the perspective of your work, and which will be, so that will be an added advantage to, and you will be contributing to your daily task and such things. So we talked about tools which helps converting your text into infographics. We talked about the multiple tools which is converting your text to cartoons. So these are all multiple ways to engage and to get that experience. And then definitely this is helping save on the time. And as the world is changing, it is very important that we also get adapted to new learnings and new methodologies. And I think this all these platform is very helpful, and it is helping, and this will be definitely very useful and very informative in the long run. So these are some of the inputs, sorry, some of my thought processes. If anybody of you have any question, if you want to share any inputs, like how things are helping you in your organization, or if you are working, if you are a working professional, or anybody amongst the team session today, if anybody is a student, how these things are helping you, you can share your inputs, because I think this is a knowledge transformation knowledge session. So we will definitely, maybe I will be happy to share inputs, from you, and to upgrade with things, because there are many things which I may not know, and I would be really happy to learn and take your inputs on that. Yeah. All right. I'll move on to the next slide. Thank you, Dipanshi, for
Can I
sharing.
add a point, Maggie?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So one point is, as a project manager, what I mean in one of the session, what we were told is, see, these all AI tools need some input. Okay.
Yes.
So while we are inputting such information to these tools, we should be very cautious that we are not submitting any intellectual information or a potential, let's say, IDs or patents, or those who work on product, uh,
Mhm.
especially, should be really careful that, because these tools learn from the information. So we should be very cautious. That is one point that I can think about.
No,
Anna?
that is really true, because there are we should also not share information which is not readily available. So maybe that is like slightly sensitive to but yes, whatever is being used, and I think we should make the most out of them, and the best practices. Because many a times when we look at we may hear about multiple tools and technologies, but the thing is that may not work in the real world scenario. So yes, as you mentioned, we need to be really sure about those things, and since these are really sensitive in nature. Uh, Moving on to the next slide. So some of the key challenges in project management. So the first challenge is to always have a clear goal and objective. Because if you are uncertain about what is the goal and objective, then there is no, I would say, there is no uh, meaning to the efforts that we are putting in. So there should be a definite, clear goal and objective. So solution for that is using frameworks like SMART. So SMART is a framework which will help you to define and communicate your goals. Then we also have scope creep. So the challenge was there was an uncontrolled change in scope, which caused further delay and the budget overruns. And the solution for that is implementing a change control process and communicating regularly with stakeholders. So stakeholder communication, I would not say on a daily basis you would be communicating with your stakeholders, but I think that stakeholder communication, free stakeholder communication is very essential and crucial for the successful running of your project. Because I think even when we have all these tools and in communicating with your stakeholders too, because things may change at times. Even we set or define a plan, there may be things which may be changing. So having that discussion and communication with your stakeholder is very essential for because that way the stakeholders and or your clients also know that you are what is the process, what is happening. So and that way everyone is updated and everybody is on the same page. And if there is anything that needs to be changed, then these things parallelly you can change in your plan. I think that is one thing. Then we talk about next point is budget management. So keeping the projects within budgets is difficult, and I think many of us have experienced such things. So the solution for that is monitoring and updating the budget regularly, and use funds wisely. So I think for here also communication with the stakeholder or client, plays a very crucial role. And the next point is communication issues. So if there is any poor communication gap, it leads to conflicts, and then there is a delay in your project. And so in order to avoid all those things, stakeholder communication or client communication is very essential. Next is team conflict. So conflicts often occur, and that can actually lower the morale and confidence of the team members. So how to address that is to have a foster and collaborative environment. Yeah, Dipanshi, we can move to the next slide. Yeah. Then we talked about resource allocation in the previous slides also. So when there is an inefficient allocation, which leads to overworked or underutilized team members. So see, the most important factor is identifying the right resource with the right skill set. So I think when you have the right resource with the right skill set, so these challenges may reduce, and it will automatically save time. Then we talked about risk management. So risk management, there are multiple ways to identify the risk. As I mentioned in the previous, like we can actually have a risk tracker. There is a risk tracking system in the SharePoint. You can use Microsoft Project Plan. You can go use Excel, simple Excel, and identify the risk as per red, amber, green. And then many organizations also have this, call with the leadership, which is called Ask Me Anything session. So these sessions are actually conducted on a monthly basis. That is again a very important platform. So, so mostly, I mean, in the previous organizations, I would see, so we have a monthly risk discussion with the leadership. So what is that risk management tracker? So there is this Mentimeter link. So Mentimeter link, and the Mentimeter link, the organization needs to register, and then this will definitely give you a Menti link. So during that risk, discussion, ask me anything session with your leadership. So this Mentimeter link can help you in posting your questions, and then that is actually collected in a template. And then I mean, I think I could not cover that Mentimeter in this session, because otherwise I would have shown at how that actually works. But I think it's a very essential platform. So once we register with Mentimeter, so that you will be able to send that Mentimeter to the audience. So just like we are having this session, and I can use Mentimeter to see your questions and comments, and in the end we can have those discussions. So basically, Ask Me Anything session with for the risk and mitigation meeting is also conducted monthly along with the leadership to highlight those risks and come out with a potential solution for that. Then we talk about stakeholder engagement. So sometimes expectations from the stakeholders are not clear. So this causes much confusion and then further delays. So for all this, essential communication and weekly connects can help, and to ensuring that everybody is on the same page. Then we talk about technology integration. So integrating and adapting to new technologies, making ensuring that we are actually learning every day, because every day is a new learning, and every day you get the opportunity to learn new things, new tools and technologies, and to keep us updated with the changing era. And then we have change management. So adapting to changes sometimes gets difficult when you have a proper plan. So adopting a flexible mindset and keeping employees informed about the changes, having a regular or a weekly, I mean, stakeholder or a client communication plays a very pivotal role in these areas. In this area, talk about the importance of effective planning in project management. So the first point is minimizing uncertainty. So we are able to identify potential risk and challenges, allowing for proactive mitigation, then optimizing resource allocation, ensuring efficient distribution of resources, preventing overburdening and wastage. And as we discussed, we need to have the right skill set and the right resources, which AI can help identify, and thus it will help in, further saving the time, and then spending, just our, hours looking at the right resources for the organization. Then we have aligned stakeholder expectation. So we need to ensure we are having that plan, we are having that discussion with the stakeholders and the stakeholders or clients for understanding their objectives, the plan. If there is any change in the plan, we can have that, scrum, meetings, daily scrum with your team if there's any changes. Then we talk about enhancing the time management. So basically, establishing realistic timelines and priorities keeps your projects in track, and you will be able to reach the milestone as per the plan. Then we talk about controls budget. So it provides a financial roadmap, helping to control costs and prevent overruns. So these are all importance of effective planning in project management. So when you plan your projects well, you're able to achieve the desired results in no time, in the accurate time as per the plan. And I think these things are very important when we look at planning our projects, or the be it software development. For everything there has to be a plan, and then if we go by, as per the plan, we are able to get into that like direction at the right time. Then we also have so it ensures quality assurance. So if you have the right plan, you are able to get the quality work as per the quality standards, as per the expectation of the organization, as per the expectation of the stakeholder, and which in turn increases client satisfaction, facilitates continuous improvement, enhances communication, and supports change management. So this recording and slide will be shared with you, so you can actually consider this as a repository and take it as a learning of what is effective planning in project management. Then enhancing collaboration and team. So team spirit, teamwork is very, very essential, be it project management, be it any other, specific, area. So planning the work along with your team. So there are multiple ways how you can manage your projects. You can have, Scrum, you can have Agile, you can have, weekly planner or a weekly meeting session. So these platforms definitely helps in identifying the right results. So planning is very essential, and then we choose the projects that bring people together. So when we are prioritizing the projects, we should also look for projects that will be that will give interest in amongst your teams. And I think, be it any project, we cannot deny any project. So every project would be a learning, be it anything from IT, be it related to healthcare, any industry, any area has a project. So everywhere there is a learning. And then we talk about creating rules for the team. And when we say rules, so these are all our planners, dividing the tasks to your team members. You can assign tasks, small tasks to your team, and then ensure that once they complete one milestone, they are moving on to the next step. And when you that is also another important thing. You don't have to be really, agreeing to the plan as per the stakeholder or as per the client. Always there should be a plan that should be readily available with you, and you can prepare the plan amongst your team after having discussions with your team. Share that plan with your stakeholder, and then you say that these things that we will be applying in our plan. And if there is any anything that your stakeholder or your client doesn't want or doesn't agree with the timelines, so you can explain them that this is the plan. So basically, if there is a step-by-step process, it will help in reaching the timeline and in getting that desired results in the duration of the timings that you have planned. So I think having a plan by yourself and having a plan from the stakeholder or from the client, and then collaborating it in a way so that nobody gets affected from those plans. So I think that is also very important when you prepare a plan. So you prepare a plan, and that plan should be discussed with your client or your stakeholder so that they're also clear about the objective. Okay, this is the plan and this is what they're going to do. This will be the step-by-step process. These will be the tools and these will be the methodologies that they will be applying when you will be working for a particular project. So I think communication is one of the important tools for all this for all these channels. And then harmonizing different tech platforms. So by ensuring digital solutions and platforms are interoperable, so that also helps in getting the projects to an achievable milestone or the success that you want to get from the project. Yeah, Dipanshu, we can move on. Then we talk about some of the strategies for adapting to change and uncertainty in project management. So we have agile methodology, as we discussed. We can use contingency buffers. So that means including time and budget buffers to handle unexpected changes. Then prioritizing risky features earlier. So when you prioritize risk, you at the earliest, it will definitely help in saving time and then avoiding challenges and uncertainties. Then we talk about flexible scope management. So we have to be ready to adjust the project scope to meet the deadlines. And also in project management, what is the most important thing is priority. You may be working on multiple projects. You may be having multiple deadlines and timeline. But the thing is, with a proper plan, you need to prioritize your projects in according to the according to plan and timeline. So when you have that, you are able to justify the right results and justify what is priority for me. And then I think that way prioritizing a projects helps you in reaching in no time, reaching as per the desired time in getting to that milestone. Then we talk about break down projects into smaller tasks. So rather than giving huge tasks to the team members with a shorter duration, that often overburdens the team member or the team members included. So you can definitely manage changes more easily with smaller manageable tasks. One task at a time, and then we can move on to the next stage of it. Gathering input from experts. That is also very important. When you are in a plan, you need to ensure that you are gathering inputs from your seniors, from your stakeholders, from your clients, because gathering essential inputs will definitely help you to anticipate and mitigate challenges. And then, when we have inputs and the thought process from other leadership or from your seniors or from the stakeholders, that actually helps in bringing that desired result in your project. Then we talk about pilot testing. So conducting tests to identify and fixing issues, that is also that plays a very vital role. And then adaptive learning, fostering a culture of continuous learning and adaptation is very essential in project management area. Be it project management or any area, that is very, very important. We come now, nextly, we talk about the effective project management relies on a combination of tools and techniques to ensure success. So I'm sure like many of us are using these tools. So we have Gantt charts. So basically these are Microsoft project planners. So Gantt charts actually helps in visualizing project timelines and track the progress. And then we have Kanban boards. So Kanban boards again manages workflow and in visualizing the task. We have the Microsoft Project Planner. So we have Asana and we have Trello. So basically, Asana and Trello is more useful for people who are in the creative side of it. Basically, Trello, I have not worked on Trello, but I have a limited understanding of it. So Trello, when you want to get your website designed, you are assigning your website designed along with content and images. So you are assigning it to a design team or maybe an advertising agency. I don't know how the advertising agency works, currently. So whether they use tools, and I'm sure that they must be having multiple tools. So Trello is something. So when you assign anything, images, let's say you want to develop a website for your organization, you already have, images from Adobe, Shutterstock, or any other platform. You are already identifying the images, be it for any, website. Let's say you are actually creating a website for cloud transformation for your organization. So you know that this is my content. These are the images which will talk about cloud technology, cloud, automated processes, different things. So there must be an overview. There must be an overview, and then there will be service offerings. And then what are the service offerings of that cloud automation platform? You will be dividing it in multiple ways, and then you are actually giving the images and the content. So basically, this is also something which I'm personally doing for my organization. So we, assign the content and images to the design team, and then they create this using Trello. So Trello cards are created based on Trello cards. That is a step-by-step process as creating a Trello card. And once the Trello card is created, then they know that, this is the content. Now I have to, work on the content. The next Trello card is created for the images. Then they know I have to work on the images. Then comes the development of, the development link. So once Trello card is created, they will be like creating a dummy page. They will be putting the content and the layout, and they will be putting the images. Even before they put the images, they will be putting the dummy images. So once that dummy image is also done, they will be creating a Trello. So Trello is a step-by-step process for every aspect that you do in project management. So see, website development is also a step-by-step process. And once this Trello card is created, then they create another Trello card for preparing development link to that website page which you have created. So once that development link is created along with the Trello card, then comes the last era, which is making the link live. So before the website is made live, there is another Trello card which is created for this, and then you move it for post production. So that is these are little things, of tools that will be helpful, for generating different tasks in your organization, for your organization. Asana is also another thing which will help in prioritizing your task, because what that does is it will see your tracker. It will, identify what are the task lists that you need to perform. So it will create the task list for you. It will actually send automated reminders. And Asana is also another platform that is widely used. Then we talked about risk registers. So I think we already had a detailed discussion about, how we identify risk registers. So there are like, risk register platforms like, SharePoint, where you can register your risk. There is a Microsoft project plan where you can identify risk using red, amber, green colors, and then taking it with your leadership. And then we have a resource breakdown structure, which is RBS. So this organizes and manages project resources very effectively. So you can identify who are the resources who are on bench, who are currently on bench. So it helps you in identifying who are the resources who are temporary, who are hired on temporary allocation, who are the contractors. So basically, somebody wants to get a pivot of all this information. It identifies all this information very easily and gives it to you. Moving on to the next slide, Dipanshi. Then we talk about some of the techniques. So we talked about the tools in the previous slide. So now we are talking about some of the techniques. So one is work breakdown structure. So this is WBS, and I'm sure some of you may be using it, or if you have not, breakdown projects. This breaks down your project into smaller manageable tasks. And I think that is also very, very essential. You can use this also as a tool, or I mean, as a technique when you are working. And the next is critical path method, CPM. CPM identifies the longest sequence of critical tasks to complete a project on time. So basically, there are projects which has a timeline, and what CPM does it helps you to identify the longest, lengthiest project the task which you need to complete, and then it's step by step defines what are the smaller tasks. So it breaks up things in a manner so that it becomes easier for you to complete the tasks that are at length, and then coming on to smaller tasks. Then we talked about Scrum, Waterfall, and agile methodologies. So these are all like Scrum plays different it's basically an agile framework for managing projects in short cycles. So Scrum plays sprint roles. So when you complete sprint 1, then you move into sprint 2. So basically that is again a step-by-step process. And when we actually practically start using these tools, we actually see how effective and how helpful it is for our projects. Waterfall is basically an older approach, but I think most of the organizations may not be using waterfall. Rather, they would be more focused on WBS, Scrum, and CPM. And there is no issue using waterfall also, because it's a linear project management approach where each phase must be completed before the next begins, or the next iteration. So these things are divided in multiple iterations, iteration 1, then iteration 2, iteration 3, like, and so on. And then we have risk management. So risk management, we already discussed, it identifies excesses and prioritizes risks to minimize their impact on the project. Stopping here, you have any questions or any inputs to share, anything that you wanted to share from what you have been doing for your organization? Okay, I'll take it as a no for now. Next slide will be some of the case studies. So these are some of the case studies from my personal experience, from what I have been doing. So as you can see, there are some, we were actually working for IT industry, retail, and then health, hospitality, healthcare industry. So one of the challenges with an IT industry was, they needed to spend up their resource time, response time to prepare the RFPs. So see, this is also something which is, which I coordinate and which I am responsible for in my organization, preparing the RFPs. So there are multiple RFPs, so it takes huge time to prepare, and then there are questionnaires. So definitely what has helped me is Copilot. So Microsoft Copilot has helped me in preparing and drafting the RFP and ensuring that the RFPs are being sent to the client, because there are multiple questions. Because in an RFP there could be 50 questions, there could be 25 questions. It depends upon the project. And then so what Microsoft Copilot has personally helped me is reducing the time taken to respond to all the RFPs by 50%. So it is also a great advantage for me or for my team members who are working on multiple RFPs. Second challenge was we were working for an industry, retail industry, and they aim to enhance their sales experience and efficiency. So again, Microsoft Copilot has helped for sales, for streamlining the sales processes, and it in turn improved the overall sales experience and efficiency. Then we worked for an airline industry. So basically, they wanted to save time for their sales team. So again, using Microsoft Copilot, it actually routed automated tasks and workflows, which in turn save the time for the sellers from hours per week, from hours to week, and it will allow them to focus more on strategic activities. Another incident is working for a hospitality industry which needed to manage a high volume of customer queries efficiently. So Microsoft 365 Copilot was able to handle those customer interactions, which in turn, managed 4 million customer queries with 97% as the outcome for sessions which was fully automated, and significantly it helped improving the customer service. So these are like some of the examples from the example from what we have been doing, what I have been doing for my organization along with my team. Yeah. Any questions? Okay. We talk in the next slide, we will talk about inclusivity and diversity. So I have a question to the audience, like, what do you think? What is inclusivity and diversity, and why? What is the importance of being inclusive and being diverse in the? I mean, I'm not talking about project management in general as a whole. It can be for your institutes where you are studying, for the organizations that you're working for. So, what is your understanding, and what is your thought process on why being inclusive, and what is the importance of being inclusive, being responsive, and we are calling us a diverse organization or a diverse institute. So I wanted to take some inputs from you. Any of the team members would like to respond?
I think perspectives matter. Okay, so
Yeah.
inclusive feeling gives a sense of ownership also, in a way that individual also has a stake
Right.
and a role to play. So for a project manager, resourcing or budgeting, let's say if all opinions are considered to evaluate risks or to uh, put forward some mitigation plans, I think it helps in many ways, and it will lead to each pointer that you have shown on screen. It will make me or make individual feel to contribute in many ways, maybe in problem solving, maybe PM will get a support in deciding something. I think it's
Absolutely.
very
Yeah.
important.
Right. So, so there were days when we looked at the hiring, onboarding processes. So, I mean, so right now, many of the organizations have this policy that we call not only organizations, be it institutions, universities. So it is very essential in generic also to be inclusive and to responsive, to be inclusive in nature, because inclusivity means you be apart from the work apart from what we deliver, it is important to take inputs from everybody to respect what the ideas are there, to respect the cultural values. So when it comes to responsiveness, inclusivity, and diversity, that is one area. But other than that, then we have people who maybe not who maybe not physically may not be fit, but the thing is they are very they may be passionate about any specific area. They may be very much they may be having a talent in a way, so that with even without their thought process or whatever the ideas they have, sometimes it becomes very important those to have those ideas, to engage them in a way so that, it actually helps us. So nowadays, those things are actually everywhere. Every organization is inclusive and diverse. Even if people who are coming from diverse background, be it cultural, racial, be it of any age, so we consider them, because what we want is real time people with real skill set. And definitely this will help in, enhancing problem solving, in enhanced problem solving, improved decision making, increased team performance, better employee engagement, positive organizational culture, and fostering to creativity. So that is why we have inclusivity, we have diversity, and many of the organizations also have a CSR team, corporate social responsibility, which additionally adopts to philanthropic things for the organization as a whole, being philanthropic. So I think there are many things, even carbon footprints, emission of papers, and reduced carbon footprints, which is also going very popular in organizations, and planting trees and saplings. So I think along with our values, whether it is work, whether it is be it any industry we're working for, these things are very essential for everyone. I still see a question from Sanju. Yeah.
No, I just wanted to add
Yeah.
the initiatives which are there, which are giving all
Absolutely.
job
Yeah.
opportunities to the veterans, also maybe racial, then
Right.
LGBT, and the ESG, which has recently come on the sustainability aspects also, which
Absolutely.
involves the environment factors, the governance factors. All these things are basically adding on to more transparency and giving opportunities to the people who might not have got so much
Right.
disabled people who were there. They may be qualified, but companies are giving them vacancies separately. That is helping
Absolutely.
on.
Yes. And I think that is helping us. And I think we have said we are happy to have those people from those areas, because they are having vast, tremendous years of experience, and then adding having them with us is definitely like a a blessing for the organization as a whole, because then they're coming out with right ideas and right thought processes, and so these things are very much essential.
Yes, Maggie, yes.
We'll move on to any other questions. Anyone wants to share any? Okay. So we finally we will talk about what are the future trends in project management. So again, like we have seen now AI is evolving. So everything is changing. AI is evolving. AI is coming out with multiple things, and going forward also we will be seeing new things. So every day, so the take would be to we need to ensure that we are adapted to learning. So artificial intelligence and automation is playing a very crucial role. So it will help us in enhanced decision making, for process optimization, identifying the risk, adoption of hybrid methodologies. And now post COVID, we have also entered into that hybrid mode of work, era. So I think even in the in a hybrid way, we're also able to have, give more productive outcomes to the, business. So there is no problem. You can actually work from anywhere. And if you, what you need to have is to have the right skill, mindset, passion for your work, and for achieving that success. And learnings are every day, because every today it is AI, tomorrow we will see something new. So learnings are every day. And the only thing is we need to be very sure and confident about our own approach. And we have to just walk the complete this journey with a will that we can do, and I'm made for it. So I think these are some of the things that we should consider. We should lead in our projects. And I think that is the most important thing. Any inputs? Anybody has anybody's having any question? I can see one question for. Okay. I think the next slide would be, so we have also prepared a Q&A session for you. So we will just adapt to, we will just take 2-3 minutes break, and then we will again, begin with some of the Q&A session. And this will be a platform for you to share your inputs and your ideas. You can actually let us know, let the team know what are the new ways of, working apart from what we have discussed in today's session. If you have any thought process, anything that needs to be, included in this, any tools or different methodologies that which will be helpful for all of us. Lastly, I would like to thank the entire team members, Dipanshi, the entire team members of PMI for giving me this opportunity, because it was a prestigious opportunity and a wonderful opportunity for me, where I was able to share my inputs and thought process. And definitely it was a learning for me from Sanju and other team members who have shared their ideas and, have made this session quite wonderful.
So Maggie, thank you for today's session. We now present you the certificate of our appreciation.
Yeah, thank you, Dipanshi. Thank you to the entire team.